The Nazca Lines, situated in the desert of Peru, are a mystery. They were created between 500 BC and 500 AD by people making depressions or shallow incisions in the desert floor, removing pebbles and leaving different-colored dirt exposed. Most lines run straight across the landscape, but there are also figurative designs of animals and plants. Some of the shapes are best seen from the air. The Nazca Lines are huge geoglyphs, drawings on the ground. The figures vary in complexity. Hundreds are simple lines and geometric shapes. More than 70 are zoomorphic designs, including a hummingbird, arachnid, fish, condor, heron, monkey, lizard, dog, cat, and a human. Other shapes include trees and flowers. In 2024, a team of archaeologists from the Japanese University of Yamagata's Nazca Institute, in collaboration with IBM Research, used artificial intelligence, AI, to discover 303 previously unknown geoglyphs depicting parrots, cats, monkeys, killer whales, and even decapitated heads. Anthropologists, ethnologists, and archaeologists have studied the ancient Nazca culture to try to determine the purpose of the lines and figures. Paul Kosok and Maria Reiche advanced a purpose related to astronomy and cosmology, as has been common in monuments of other ancient cultures. The lines were intended to act as a kind of observatory, to point to the places on the distant horizon where the sun and other celestial bodies rose or set at the solstices. Maria Reiche asserted that some or all of the figures represented constellations. By 1998, Phyllis B. Pitluga, a protege of Reiche and senior astronomer at the Adler Planetarium in Chicago, had concluded that the animal figures were representations of heavenly shapes. Alberto Rossel Castro, 1977, proposed a multifunctional interpretation of the geoglyphs. He classified them into three groups. The first appeared to be tracks connected to irrigation and field division. The second are lines that are axes connected with mounds and cairns. And the third was linked to astronomical interpretations. Others theorized that the lines and figures were part of religious practices involving the worship of deities associated with the availability of water, which directly related to the success and productivity of crops. They interpreted the lines as sacred paths leading to places where these deities could be worshipped. The figures were symbols representing animals and objects meant to invoke the aid of the deities in supplying water. Why did the Nazca people create these lines? They might have been a giant calendar. Others think the lines had religious significance. They might have been used in ceremonies. Some people think the lines were used for astronomical purposes. Some people even believe that aliens created the Nazca Lines. Swiss writer Erich von Däniken was fascinated by Nazca and was also a strong believer in extraterrestrial visitations. Von Däniken published a best-selling book titled Chariots of the Gods in 1968. In this book, he describes his theory that the lines were used as landing sites for UFOs. Däniken claimed that the Nazca Lines site reflected visits by astronauts from other worlds, who became the creators of ancient civilizations. According to him, Sanskrit literature describes a story in which an aircraft landed on Earth, and the local people watched in amazement as human-like beings with golden shimmering skins walked, mined for metals, and then flew away in their ship. In recent years, archaeologists from the Yamagata University have been conducting a field survey of the Nazca Lines using high-resolution aerial photography and drones. The researchers are convinced that the Nazca Lines were used as an ancient form of communication. The linear types were used to travel from one valley to another, while the relief types that depict animals, birds, and various figures tend to be drawn on slopes alongside ancient pathways. Due to this, the researchers suggest that the figures marked the routes for communication between settlements. The lines are very fragile, but the climate of the Nazca Desert has helped to preserve them. The dry air and lack of rain have kept the lines from eroding. Today, the Nazca Lines are a UNESCO World Heritage Site.